I'm just messing with you. I'm just screwing with you guys. I'm not a demented pumpkinhead. I'm vampire teching. I'm back at it. Oh yeah, pelvic thrust vampire dance. Y'all thought I was dead, didn't ya? After the whole Halloween debacle we had last year. I can't recall exactly how it went. I think I was doing good for a while. I'm pretty sure I killed Tekking. I think I killed him and, like, drained his fluids, and then that weird vampire hunter dude that was dressed all flamboyantly with the suspenders came in and punched me in the freaking face and made me melt, but you can't keep a good vampire down. So I'm back again for HOROWEEN 2018. It was rather convenient that we had that intro queued up and ready to go, you know what I mean? Alright, so, I hope I didn't freak too many people out with that intro. Actually, I do, because this year, with HOROWEEN, we're not gonna streamline it a touch. Last year we did 13 nights, this year we're only doing 6. But trust me, after 6, you will have certainly lost hope in all of humanity. That is my job today, because these will be the 6 darkest moments in all of One Piece. Now, if you're sitting there in your comfy little love seat or reclining chair, I don't know what the kids these days are sitting in, and you're sipping on your sugary beverage or you're toking on your bongs. I don't know what the kids are smoking these days, but if you're doing any of that stuff and you're thinking, Tekking, vampire, come on, man, this is One Piece we're talking about. This is the single most popular manga in the entire world. You know how many kids read this? You know how many little Japanese children are running around right now pretending to be Luffy? How many dark things could possibly happen in this series? Well, I hope your spirit will be the first to break. Alright, so, there's a lot of really dark scenes in One Piece, and I obviously couldn't compress them all down into just, you know, just 6. Really, I should have done like a top 20 or whatever, but I just couldn't do it. So I streamlined it down, of course, to my personal preference. You're, of course, going to have, I guarantee you at least 1 or 2 of the ones I put on here would be on your list as well, because there's some of them there's no debate, you know, like, oh, okay, that's immediately a dark moment. I feel like I should also clarify the difference between a dark moment and a very sad moment, because the two, yes, they could conceivably be the same thing, but not necessarily be the same thing. A good example of this is the death of the Going Merry at the end of the Enies Lobby arc. That is an extremely sad moment, probably one of the saddest moments in the entire series. But it's not really a dark moment, and if anything, it actually provides a little bit of uplifting atmosphere a little bit, because the Going Merry actually speaks to the Straw Hats telepathically or through the Klabautermann, and the ship is talking about how much it loved being with the crew and how it wishes it could carry you on even further. So yeah, it's a very sad moment because you really do genuinely feel like a member of the crew is dying, but at the same time it's like it was able to tell the crew its final thoughts, and it provides a little bit of hope, I guess, for the rest of the journey, I guess. Now, if you were going to make that a dark moment, let's take it to mean like instead of telling the crew its final thoughts and it was so happy that it was able to travel with them, imagine if after the Going Merry got lit on fire and they're watching it burn in a Viking funeral, the ship began to cry out in horrible agony. Oh my God! Why did you set me on fire? I can feel it! I can feel the pain! I've been brought to life by your happiness, but now you're torching me! And I have to rest in the ocean depths! Why did you do this? If the Going Merry did that, that would be a pretty dark moment when you realize, holy crap, this ship has achieved a level of sentience and could feel human pain. So I just wanted to clarify the differences between dark and sad. Because there are some things on this list that are a little bit sadder than others, but they're all very dark. So with that being said, let's start off today. We're going to do one part of the list each day for 6 days leading up to Halloween. So yeah, starting off today with number 6, my pick is the backstory of Charlotte Lindland. which all just coincidentally happens to revolve around this nice lady here. I mean, look at her. She seems so chipper. She's got an infectious smile. She's kind of like your grandma. Yeah, you know, you guys got grandmas, right? You know, I used to go down my grandma, and she used to make cookies, and it was such a fun time. I remember spending Christmas down there. Oh man, yeah, grandma's house is so much fun. All right, so, Charlotte Lindland, Big Mom's backstory. Here's the thing that makes it rather dark. Big Mom, when she started out, you know, she wasn't evil. She didn't have an evil, tainted heart. It wasn't like as soon as she was birthed, she was like, I will become a Yonko and reign over the seas. No, she's a little kid, except she's a little kid that has very scary powers, where she is huge and way stronger than everyone around her, even to a giant. You know, obviously she could just like step on a human and just kill them right there, but even when in a land of giants, she is a threat, okay? But the thing is, she doesn't know that. All right, she herself is just an innocent little kid, and whenever she does do these things, she's doing them with the best intentions. Like, for example, on Elbaf that one time, she sees a wolf and a bear fighting in the woods. Now, anybody, I mean, if she was a little older, she might be able to understand, like, hey, look, it's nature, you know, damn nature, you scary, you know, it's what's gonna happen. They're both predators, they ran afoul each other, now they're fighting. But Big Mom, at that young age, she thought to herself, oh, Mr. Wolf and Mr. Bear must have gotten into an argument. Well, I know what'll fix that right up. I'll put them in a cage so they can fight it and they can talk it out and they can be best friends again. Of course, the bear ends up killing Mr. Wolf, and in order to reprimand the bear, Big Mom slaps it really hard, killing it immediately. So, I mean, like, it caused death. If she had just not intervened, you know, at least one of the animals would still be alive. But yeah, it really did show that she just has a very naive, very childish view of the world, and, you know, what, you know, it really means for people to get along and be friends. And also when she meets other people of different races, like she meets a fishman child and she tries to rip off the gills. She sees a long arm tribe member. She tries to, like, rip off his extra joints because she just doesn't understand. She thinks that it's like, oh, you must be defective because you have gills. Well, let me just rip those off. But it all comes from a good place, okay? Now, the thing is, with Mother Caramel, Big Mom is very innocent. She doesn't understand exactly how she's being enabled by Mother Caramel, because this is like classic enabling behavior, 100%, where no matter what she does, she's not punished or anything, not even chastised, really. Not even like, no, Charlotte, you really shouldn't be doing that stuff now. No, it's Big Mom, Mother Caramel just forgives everything that Charlotte Lindland does, and usually rewards her with a baked good or some candies. Like, oh, well, you know, you did kill that large predator in one hit, but you just did it out of love. Here, have some cake. So growing up, she's not learning, you know, what she's doing is bad behavior or things that are going to lead to a lot of death, and she just doesn't understand that. But that's not really her fault. You get where I'm coming from here? Keep in mind, 5 years old. So, we find out later that Mother Caramel is not the caring, nurturing mother that she initially appears to be. No, sure, her code name is Mountain Witch. And her job is to actually sell orphans off to the world government to be used in their organization. Like, for example, she made the trade for John Giant, who eventually became a high-ranking Marine official. So that's what her job is. And she figures, oh, well, you know, Charlotte has such a ridiculously high amount of power and all that stuff, and she's only 5. If, you know, you give me the right price, you know, no, it's not going to be cheap now, but if you give me the right price, I'll hand her over to you guys, and you'll have a real powerhouse on your hand. Can you imagine if that actually went the way it did, if Big Mom was recruited by the Marines? Now, you might think immediately that would be a bad thing, because Big Mom would just, like, destroy the Marines the same way she destroyed Elbath, but imagine, I might do a what-if scenario on this. If Big Mom did end up joining the Marines, get sold off to them by Mother Caramel, and maybe she met somebody in the Marines that nurtured her and actually gave her, like, a firm kind of parenting, like something that can actually raise her up properly, to the point where she actually turned out different. Can you imagine that? I mean, it's possible. I mean, it depends. Like, if Mother Caramel treated her a little bit more firmly and says, no, Charlotte and Lindland, you can't be doing this kind of stuff. This is wrong. This is bad. You need to stop. Because Lindland did listen to Mother Caramel whenever she gave an order. She would try to, anyway, like with the whole, the festival, the Festival of the Sun. That was the first time she kind of put her foot down and is like, no, you can't eat anything until the end of the fast. That's the one thing I'm going to put my foot down on. And she's like, I think it lasted like a few days for her, and she's like, I'm trying, Mom, but it's so hard. So she clearly listens to her. It's just that, well, she didn't really care to begin with, we find out later, but also it is very enabling behavior there. And so, this leads us into the dark times. Not so much the dark moment when she had a craving for Semla and wrecked an entire village and killed one of their national heroes. No, that's not the dark part, okay? We can do better. Oda, you got this, okay? So after the death of Lord Fallbeard, and this is a national hero of Elbaf, and all the giants they want to kill her. They just want to straight up just take out this child. Now, even in a scene like that, you might be thinking like, okay, she is way too much of a threat. She does need to be taken care of, but at the same time, and especially because considering what we know what she will eventually become, so we're all like, hey, giants, yeah, if you want to just take her out right now, I mean, that would solve a lot of problems. But I don't know, when I was reading it, I'm still looking at her from the lens of a little girl that is really naive and doesn't even remember half the stuff she did when she's in the middle of her hunger pangs. So when you put it in that context, it's like, wow, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, all of the things that she does and the threat that she poses, I mean, yeah, if the giants were to eliminate her right now, I mean, that would save countless lives later down the line. But at the end of the day, she's still just a little girl that really doesn't know right from wrong yet, and she's only like 5 years old. So yeah, eventually Mother Caramel takes her and the rest of the orphans and the Lamb's house away from Elbaf, not because she cares, but because, she can't let her operation fall apart. So they go to some random island, which will later turn out to be part of Totland, which will be Whole Cake. They go to this random island, they set up the sheep's house there, and they're there, and everything seems to be okay. It seems like everything has been solved, right? Except not really, because you're not dealing with the actual problem. Like, she just had a huge hunger pang and wiped out an entire village and killed a giant. And you're just like, all right, we'll leave, but that doesn't solve the actual problem. This is gonna happen again, right? I guess Mother Caramel just figured she would pass her off to the Marines by the time that happened. But anyway, they spend the next few weeks singing and dancing and just playing merry, and everything seems to be back to normal. And then it's Lindland's 6th birthday. They make her a cake made of semla. They sit down at this table outside, and she begins to have, so she's so happy that her family's here and her mother's here, and then people really like her and care about her, and so tears just start welling down her face, and she starts devouring her cake like, oh, you can eat as much as you want. You can eat as much as you want. And before you know it, she wipes the tears and the cream off her face, and she looks down and she sees that she bit into the table and it's destroyed, and her family is nowhere in sight. She ate her family. Now, do I even need to explain what's dark about that? But even worse, she doesn't remember it. So this is like a case of like, it's Halloween, so I'm just going to draw a comparison to werewolves, like you have somebody that has the curse of a werewolf, and they go to bed, and they turn into a wolf in the middle of the night, and they go around and they slaughter their entire family, then they go back to sleep, and they just wake up, and they're like, oh God, what happened? Holy shit! Like, you don't remember doing it, right? And it's just like, what the hell, man? But yeah, I mean, she doesn't remember what she did. And she probably wasn't even, because she couldn't see it, because she was in the middle of eating, and she was so happy, and she was thinking about all these happy thoughts and everything. She didn't even occur to her. She didn't even hear the blood-curdling screams. Like, I want you to imagine getting eaten alive. All right? Like, probably not something, hopefully not something any of us will ever have to deal with. It's not really a way that most people end up, you know, biting the big one. Usually when it happens, it's like in a movie or something, like in Jurassic Park when a freaking T-Rex just roar and just devours you. You know, there's really not a lot of huge, you know, carnivores out there that will straight up just devour you in one bite. I mean, yeah, if you're some unlucky son of a bitch to be walking in the woods one day and you accidentally, like, are, you know, just walking on a trail and then you stumble upon a grizzly bear cub and then mama shows up and starts yeah, I mean, you're gonna get killed and the bear's gonna devour you, but at least it's not in just one bite, you know what I mean? The bear's not big enough to do that. Imagine you're sitting there having a nice little freaking Sunday meal, there's cake, and you're, oh, this is great, this is awesome, it's like a birthday party, oh, and then all of a sudden, just your arm is just, you're just watching your family get devoured by this, just all like freaking Mrs. Pac-Man. I don't know, like maybe elephants aren't carnivores, right? No, they're herbivores. Yeah, it was like maybe an elephant, maybe a hippo. Hippo would do it. I think a hippo's big enough to do that. So yeah, if you're one of the very few people that are going to die a hippo-related death, you might understand this, or have witnessed a hippo-related death. She devours her entire family, including her mom, the person that, well, the only person close to her, you know, her mother, because her birth parents abandoned her. So she never found out what happened to them, and she had to spend the rest of her life like, Mama, where did you go? I'm like, and Oda, of course, didn't show it. He, of course, didn't show the grisly scene where she's biting her family members in half, most of which were children, by the way. Yeah, he doesn't show it, but it's like a pan out from the island, and we can hear like a crunch, 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 and then all of a sudden everybody's gone. So, I mean, I guess if you really want to draw it out, you could be like, well, you know what? I mean, the jury is still out on that. She might not have eaten them all. Maybe aliens came and abducted them. Yeah, maybe aliens came at the last minute and sucked them up, and all that was left was a destroyed table and Mother Caramel's little scarf just lying there. Yeah, that's most probable likelihood of what occurred, really. But yeah. Yeah, well, anyway, that's the first on our list. That's the first on our list. That's number 6 of 6, and I did, in fact, label these going progressively worse as we go. So, yeah, we're gonna get darker and darker from here on out. So, I hope you guys are ready for this week. It's gonna be really, really fun. Vampire Tekking out.